Alright, so just getting the stream image off and
Okay.
doing the teensy bit of setup.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
gonna leave a message in Colin's thing, letting him know.
okay.
Hey, yeah, there we go. Okay, done.
Okay.
Ha!
Alright, so guess we're ready to start. So,
Yes,
hello
we are.
again, everybody. Hello,
Hello!
hello.
I'm
Welcome.
so happy to be back. Alright, so what are we doing
Yeah,
today?
so today, as we keep saying, like, we're here to have one last moment of song, of like happiness and songs before the dark zone of doom comes with the Owl House season finale. But we're not here to talk about that today. We are here to talk about the new Phineas and Ferb movie, the one that came out on Disney Plus, Candace Against the Universe. So,
That
uh,
was so much fun.
mhm.
That I can just start off right there. That was so much fun.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so before I go into my thoughts, I figured the two of us should talk a bit about Phineas and Ferb because for me, Phineas and Ferb for me, I approach this more so from I'm checking out what the industry is doing and what, sort of the more sort of the general animation community is into. I do watch the show. I like it. I've actually been watching several episodes on Disney Plus. I don't consider myself like a super mega fan because I think sometimes the humor can be a bit in your face, but it's still a lot of fun. I really like the comedic energy that goes on. I like how many of the episodes you have this thing going on where you have Phineas and Ferb coming up with something, Candace wanting to bust them, and Perry and Doofenshmirtz are all like fighting and doing their own thing. And I really find it interesting that the three often like come together coincidentally without them being necessarily aware of it. So yeah, it's the kind of show that I like when it turns up on like Disney Channel. If I'm traveling, I'm at a hotel and it's playing. It's like, oh, Phineas and Ferb is on, and I turn on. It's like, hey, that was kind of fun. My favorite episode, I think. Have you seen the one with the boot camp?
Boot camp,
Gary?
boot camp.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I might have.
it's the one where Candace seems to finally bust Phineas and Ferb, and they get sent to this Full Metal Jacket esque boot camp.
I don't think I have seen that then. It's been
Yeah,
a long time.
yeah. I really.
I was very much more following it offhand even then.
hmm
Um just back in high school
I see.
of all times. And so yeah, like I but yeah, I mean did the episode play in some way that you found like relative?
I mean, like, I just remember seeing it. I think it was like it just turned up one day on ABC Kids, formerly ABC's One Saturday Morning. And I just really like how creative it was because it diverted so much from the usual formula. Not that I hate the formula, but I liked how this time it looked like Candace busts them. They get sent to this weird boot camp that contains a lot of Full Metal Jacket and Clockwork Orange references where
Oh
the kids are
no.
basically taught don't have fun, fun is bad. And
Oh
this is
gosh.
spoilers for the episode. I really like how it's one of those times where even though it's really like it's all in Candace's dream, that alone I think just gives me like the biggest laugh. Like I really like how it's like we
Oh,
got you.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That explains it all because like I know that a lot of people do not like that. They find it cliche and
hmm
annoying. But I'm like, yeah, I find it funny sometimes.
Yeah,
Like I enjoy laughing at that kind of stuff. Like, yes, just because you can't sometimes it's hard to explore certain things like that if you don't add some sort of aspect like that to it where you can't like bounce back. So it's like no shame, no shame.
yeah, no
And
shame.
I mean, I wouldn't understand how that could happen in any other way.
hmm
Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, if that actually really did happen, like straight up, and it wasn't something like a dream or anything, it'd be like, really, how are you going to come back from this?
yeah, well now you know. But
Yes.
I wanted you to talk a bit about your thoughts on Phineas and Ferb because you seem like much more familiar with it than like I am.
Well, I mean, like I said, I followed it offhand mainly during high school. Um, just because it was on and I'm here, like, even if I'm not completely invested in something, I'll just like leave it on. And my favorite shows have always been the animation shows, so that would be between more so stuff like Jetix and Disney Channel back when there was Jetix and now Disney XD.
Yeah.
And Cartoon Network,
Mm-hmm.
also Boomerang. So I think whenever Phineas and Ferb was on, that was one of the main things that would keep me on the Disney Channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
uh,
Lasted quite a long time too.
yeah,
Yeah.
it did. And I mean, I'd already been interested in like Bowling for Soup, Weird Al Yankovic,
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I'm not, I can't remember right off the bat if Weird Al was tied in with Phineas and Ferb, or if that was just their follow up, Milo Murphy's Law. But
Yeah.
just like stuff like that, and seeing kind of like pop culture references kind of like working their way in there, and then like the artist actually being incorporated into the show. It was like, oh, this is cool. And I mean, the theme song is catchy as heck. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've heard it so many times that I actually more or less have it burned into my brain, and I'm very happy that I do.
Yeah. They even did one
So.
where Alex Hirsch sang the theme song as Runkle Stan.
Oh, no
Yeah,
way!
he
Was
did the
that like
same
for
with
one of their
Star.
live streams, or?
No, I think it's like floating on YouTube, and you can find both him singing both Phineas and Ferb and Star's theme song.
Oh my gosh, I need to find that because I
Yeah.
I know he had a live stream with Rebecca Sugar, and a lot of crazy stuff happened on there.
Why am I not
So
surprised?
yeah, but so yeah, just hearing names like that being connected to it, and
Hmm.
learning so after the fact, it just made me want to go back to the show even more.
Yeah.
And the humor, I loved the humor. Also at school, I remember there was one kid. I don't know if you were ever in a class with a kid who was doing this, but or if there was only one. But I remember in our high school there was one kid who made a point of showing that they could do the Perry the Platypus sound.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was. I
Yeah.
just remember being in class and somebody when like this kid would just be like doing the Perry the Platypus sound. And I'm just like,
Yeah, with the
gosh,
teeth
I'm so
chattering.
jealous. Yeah. I
Yeah,
was like, it's the kind of thing that everyone wishes they could do, and they think it's like, oh, it's so simple and easy, and then you try to do it, it's like,
no. I'm not even
no.
gonna try. Mm. So,
So yeah,
uh,
just stuff like that. It just kind of got me endeared with the show in general. I
mhm.
mean, I even have a funny story. I don't know if you'd ever heard that. I like one time we had a garage actually catch on fire.
Oh God.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing. What was I doing moments before? We started running out of our house because our garage caught on fire. I
Mhm.
was lazing on my bed, avoiding homework, watching Phineas and Ferb of all things.
I see. Was there
So
something
now,
in the episode that related to what was going on?
I don't think so, but it's just one of those things like, yeah, it's just like, that's kind of like where my brain goes now. It's just like, wow. Of
Yeah.
all things you could be doing before your garage gets on fire, Gabby, what were you doing? I was watching Phineas and Ferb.
I see. It's that kind of thing. Uh,
Yeah, and I mean, thankfully nobody got hurt.
oh,
We
that's
just
good.
probably lost some stuff that was in there, but other than that, everyone was fine. So thank goodness for that. But yeah, it's just a funny story I have, just like, just kind of like out there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's good that nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I want to turn on the light because I know this side of my face looks really dark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Heck, but it looks cool. It's
We
like kind of like that moody
especially
kind of light.
yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, I look like I'm in some sort of film noir, but yeah. And the interesting thing is, like, when I was coming back to Phineas and Ferb, it honestly came at a pretty good time for me because this was, especially like nowadays, and I don't say I hate these kinds of shows because I reviewed them at the time. The nice thing about Phineas and Ferb is it's kind of like the bright light at a time when a lot of Disney shows are starting to steer more into like having really big like story arcs and getting darker. I'm talking about
Oh
shows
yeah,
like
and
yeah,
that was around the same time as what, like Star versus the Forces of Evil. Jetix was a big thing, and Disney XD bringing out a lot of like the grittier stuff.
yeah,
Although we're talking grittier as in respect to what Disney typically, you know,
yeah, no, yeah, no.
allows.
Hmm.
I mean, didn't Jetix have like, was it Jetix or XD that had Naruto Shippuden?
That would be XD. I still remember the TV
I
ads.
found that so weird. It's like, what's Disney doing with Naruto Shippuden?
Yeah,
What? But lo and behold, and Phineas and Ferb, I feel like is one of the shows that managed to get like the complexities because
yeah,
there were kind of like nuances in the relationships between the characters. There were ongoing, kind of like low-key dramas, I guess, because they weren't really like melodramatic or anything, but
yeah,
you were just
hmm,
like, oh, what does that mean? You know what I mean?
yeah, hmm,
So all of that while still much able to maintain their lighthearted kind of like,
yeah,
comedic sort of vibe, which I thought worked so well.
hmm,
It's funny, it's feel good, and at the same time, you kind of like, as a viewer, you can kind of have fun sort of looking into it further,
yeah,
just like
hmm,
analyzing everything. Like that's part of it too. I think that it has enough like more than enough elements to just go around and seeing like what the heck is going on here, even though it seems so simple and carefree on the surface, and it really is. There's just like, if you want to look into it and get like all these details, all the Easter eggs and stuff like that, there's just so much to look into there, and I think that made it work even better.
yeah. I mean, I think it definitely makes it really great for both kids and adults. And again, it's not that I think of like shows I review like Star vs. the Force of Evil Hours, especially since the current trend in we joke about this a lot. It's like the current trend is on the surface it starts off all funny and happy, and then by
It's
the
like by the end,
somebody's
someone
dead.
might be dead.
Yeah, and not that it's like not that I don't like watching the shows, but I notice this is a really weird way for me to explain it. I've been talking about how lately I've been dealing it by like watching like listening to really crazy music or watching like crazy 80s car commercials. But I
Right.
realized I think I found a strange, but I could explain this in a decent way. It's like how you watched Home Alone as a kid, right, Gabby?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Home Alone and
cuz
Home Alone 2.
yeah,
So,
because you know how in Home Alone, when you're watching the traps as kids, we're like, ah, tee hee hee, ah, ha. It's really funny seeing Marvin
yeah.
Harry, go for all the traps. But when you're an adult, you're like, Jesus
Oh,
Christ, if that was
jeez.
real,
How did I
well, they
find
could
this funny?
die.
This is terrifying.
Yeah, so it's like
One
I
of them
feel like,
gets electrocuted. The other one
mhm,
has his head set off.
yeah, the one scene everybody brings up is when and Marv steps on the nail.
Oh,
Yeah, so
dear, mom.
yeah, no,
My
no.
mic just.
No. It's it's good.
Oh yeah, just
Yeah.
the image just went right into my head, just like once you did the motion and the flick, I was like,
Yeah, but you should get what I mean. It's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like it's almost like as kids we were like oh it's on the TV, that's how it goes, and then now as an adult it's almost like subconsciously I'm like thinking hey if this is real, this is serious shit.
yeah, and this brings up such a good point. I
Hmm.
apologize if we're like rambling or
Yeah,
whatnot, but
no,
like, I actually got to take a class in children's television
yeah,
last year over the summer, and one of the points that we looked at was the fact that despite a lot of this kind of stuff being aimed towards children,
yeah,
the ones that tend to leave an impact are the ones who still kind of treat the audience as somebody capable of, interpreting and analyzing what they're watching,
Yeah.
because otherwise there's no substance.
Yeah, there's no reason to
So
come
it's
back.
like, yeah, no, kids are smart, and smart material is going to be what leaves the most impact. It's like,
Yeah.
which ones are you going to go back at? The ones that you're just kind of like,
hmm
whoa, they went there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to keep going on about this. It's just that when I made that, realization when I was looking at some clips of Home Alone and checking out the comments, seeing all these people who are like,
Right,
"Dude, David would be
yeah.
dead if this was real." I was like, "That's what's going through my head right now."
Yeah, no, and
So,
it's consensual. It's like well, I don't know if that's actually the right word, but like unanimous. That
yeah.
this isn't just like a single, oh, one person here, one person there kind of thing. They're like, no, most of us are looking at it and saying, how,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, so it is good that, shows like, Phineas and Ferb, they come back once in a while. Like they did that crossover with Milo, and now they had that movie on Disney Plus, which, hey, we're gonna talk about that. So
Yes,
yeah, so
let's get
Gabby,
to
you
it.
wanna go first?
Where do we begin though? I
Uh
mean, it starts off with just like one of like the best feel good songs, right? That kind of like everything's great, da 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 da,
Candace,
going
yes.
down the road.
Yeah.
And from that point, like I was already jamming with it. I was like, yes, let's go here. This is what I
hmm
came for. You know. Well, who was it? It was Candace,
Yeah, it
right?
was
Just
Candace,
going
yes.
down the road with her bike, singing about how it's a great day.
hmm
And then juxtaposing it like with these like angsty kind of like rock moments going over like all the past events that have been going on throughout the show.
Yeah, like basically it's like, it's a good day as long as my brothers don't come up with one of their schemes,
Yeah, and
basically.
then just starts listing off like,
hmm
and I thought that was fitting because it's like there's so much to refer back to with Phineas and Ferb. Like, there's no better way than just kind of like pointing out just how much stuff they've been managing to do over what should have been
hmm
one summer. Like, canonically, it's supposed to be a single summer, so it's like, well, um, what goes on next? She teams up with. No, 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 no. She comes over to the house and she sees that there's this giant um what was it, giant juggling robot clown. Did I
Yeah.
get that right?
Yeah.
And it's a common like, mom, look what's going on, and somehow some way it just ends up disappearing.
hmm
And from there, you got the setup for what the main plot is going to be, in that she gets upset. She's angry with the Phineas and Ferb. Phineas and Ferb go off to try to make her a present, and in that time, she teams up with she meets up with Vanessa up at the front of the house, and they find this mysterious contraption
hmm
on the front lawn, which Candace decides might possibly be like a giant waffle maker.
Yeah, she thinks it's something Phineas and Ferb made. And yeah, she ends up getting
But
both herself and Vanessa in
yeah, inside there,
in the
and
ship
from there
basically.
we have like the main plot going off, and my favorite part from that was probably seeing Candace looking at Phineas and Ferb from the window going, "There's no waffles here!"
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and from there on we're following the whole adventure as to how, who, and if by, well, yeah, how, this is all going to come full circle.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know, like just within those few moments of the beginning, like you're already hooked. I was already hooked in.
Yeah, I was
It was
hooked from the song,
just
to be honest.
yeah, it was just like, yeah, awesome. This is exactly what I was signing up for. Let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Um,
so they
yeah.
basically start so they at first, and this was the first pop culture reference you picked up. Like they build this like portal, and you said it looks like something from Stargate, right?
Yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
it looked like, it straight up looked like Stargate. Though it seems like this has been like in some other episodes, if Doofenshmirtz has one. I haven't had the time to go check that, but I mean, if you
Sure.
guys want to point that out in the comments, go for it.
Yeah,
Like,
and leave any of your thoughts on the movie,
yeah,
whether you like it or
yeah,
dislike it. I know, by the way, before
absolutely.
we keep going, I know that one of my followers, Cassie, said, I want to watch it, but I still haven't seen the movie. Hopefully, you do. I'd
Oh
say it's a
yeah,
pretty decent
I
movie.
hope we're not
Yeah,
ruining it for you.
yeah, like warning to Cassie and others. I did say in the description this is a spoiler review, so we
Okay,
are gonna
okay,
talk about like
cool.
the ending and who
All
the
right.
aliens are and so forth. So just to
Yes.
keep that in mind. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
so
mean, some stuff is already out there. I think Thomas Sanders was quite open about him having a part in there, which I absolutely
yeah,
love Thomas Sanders, so
which
I was happy to hear
I
that.
don't really consider that like a spoiler per
Yeah,
se.
yeah, yeah. So like, I mean, there's way much more to go into than just that. So.
Yeah, and then when they go across the portal. By the way, something I really liked about this movie, I actually I liked a lot of the meta and fourth wall break jokes. Like I like how
Oh
when they
yes,
build
that's
that
one of
portal,
my favorite
like
parts. Just oh my gosh,
yeah,
all the fourth
hmm
wall
there's one
breaking.
especially good one that comes at the end that we'll talk about. But I like how one of the first ones is like that character. What's his name? Baljeet? Am I pronouncing it right?
Baljeet, yeah,
Yeah, he's
Baljeet.
like, oh, it's gonna take some time to build the point. And it's like, oh, it just took a light
It
transfusion.
just took a wipe. Like it'll take at
Yeah.
least a full montage. It's like no, it just took a wipe.
Yeah, so I thought that was brilliant. So we get like
Yeah,
probably one of the biggest differences between what the movie does and what the show usually does, and that this time this is one of those times where Phineas, for also joined by Baljeet, Buford, and Isabella, and they're actually
yeah.
teaming up with Doofenshmirtz, which come to think of it, makes sense because Vanessa is Doofenshmirtz's daughter, so of course he wants to like go rescue her.
And the dynamic was just gold. I couldn't help but just have a field day watching them interact.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Doofenshmirtz and Isabella.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's for me. I thought it was okay. Like it kept my interest. But what really started getting funny for me, seeing them interact was Doofenshmirtz's antics with Isabella. Like honestly, that song "Adulting"
Exactly.
is probably my favorite. It's song to come from this movie, aside from the beginning and end song. Like I thought that song was just fantastic.
Final tea.
And again, I also like how when Doofenshmirtz says adulting, first of all, he's using it completely incorrectly. I like how he keeps saying, oh, I'm the adult because I go through all the like the downsides of being an adult. Like I have this like really sore like joint,
Oh
and
yeah, just like oh, okay,
mhm.
okay.
Yeah. So I thought that song was really on point. Although, yeah, that song comes along like more toward the middle of the movie.
I just find it funny how it's like, oh, okay, we're going to trust the person who's like barely managing to have,
Hmm
kind of like an adult figure about them, despite them being a full-fledged adult. Okay.
Yeah, and especially since, yeah, how many times have Doofenshmirtz's plans worked in the show?
I
Not,
don't think they have. I don't think
yeah,
they have they?
yeah,
Or
but
if they do, they always end up backfiring some way.
yeah, so
Like
yeah,
I
I would
feel
say
like,
it
oh
was
boy.
pretty good seeing them together, which basically
Oh,
leads, and this is something that kind of left a question mark on me, that because Doofenshmirtz is interacting with Phineas and Ferb and friends this time Perry is basically like he cannot be seen by like anybody that goes
that
along.
was
So,
beautifully worked around
mhm.
too. Like, what was it? They were there on a spaceship, or what was
Yeah,
it?
yeah, it
The
was a
space travelinator.
that Doofenshmirtz insists on calling it.
Yes. There's this whole thing. They go into an asteroid.
hmm That scene, I really like that scene. I like the song,
Yes,
and
and Perry's just going out there trying to like keep them from like
from getting hit by asteroids and can't be seen.
yes.
It was Doofenshmirtz who was like, "Oh, it looks like the 4th of July out there," like just completely oblivious. Like I thought, like yeah, that scene I also really liked.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah, and so Yeah, so they get through space. Balji constantly mentions the show like
Space
Space Adventure.
Adventure, which is like a straight up, it practically looks like it wants to be like a rip off Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, okay, we're going in full with the sci-fi references. I can dig it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wait,
It's
what did they call the spaceship? USS what?
I honestly don't
Was
remember.
it Minnow? I
I
don't remember, but
I
it
don't
was something
remember.
like that.
Yeah.
Though I don't know if I'm just misremembering it and confusing it with the SS Minnow from Gilligan's Island.
Yeah. So okay. So yeah. So we talked about them being in space. And
Yes.
basically, both Candace and Vanessa, like they first get sent to what was that thing with the escape pods? Like before they get sent to the alien planet, they were like sent on this other ship.
Yeah, that was probably like I guess that was sort of supposed to be like the mothership of sorts, where
Yeah.
the kind of like the thingy just the contraption they were caught in was just sent back up into the spacecraft, and from there, it's almost like a space station too, kind of.
Yeah, I would call it space
Yeah.
station.
But they're just going around trying to find ways to escape,
Mm-hmm.
and they find it like there's this whole deal with the map.
Yeah.
It's like a Google Assistant.
Google Assistant, Siri, Alexa, take
Yeah.
the pic. It activated my Amazon Echo Dot.
Oh
As I said,
no!
Alexa. But we're good. We're good. We're good.
Good.
Yeah. That's
But oh, okay. What was I? Yes.
yeah.
And
So
so the whole assistant thing ends up like showing them where the escape pods are. They go there thinking, "Oh, yes, it's going to send us back to Earth." But
mm-hmm.
lo and behold, this spacecraft does not have Earthlings on it. So where would the escape pods send them but the home planet of those who are on the ship?
Yeah. Wasn't it like the escape pod sent Vanessa, but Candace did she like stay on the ship or something?
Uh,
Or
Candace hurries Vanessa into one of them.
yeah.
She's like, "I'll be following you in another one as well. Don't worry." And she
Mm-hmm.
goes like, "Hey, close the escape pods." And just before she even manages to go,
Yeah.
she gets locked out of all the space pods. It all gets sent down to what the planet's name was Feebloat, right? Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Feebloat.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so they get shot down there. So Candace gets caught.
Yeah.
Yes, and then taken down to the same planet. So it was basically like the same thing.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just the difference is Candace is actually sent to call it the headquarters of the ruler.
Oh yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Right after this like funny song sequence, it's the one where like they're
Oh,
introducing
the
you to
door.
yeah,
The-
and it was just like like they just stop like right like not in the middle, but like toward the end they just kind of stopped and said come on inside.
Oh yeah, yeah. You remember that? That was funny.
Yeah. Yeah, to which we discovered that this world basically treats Candace as like the chosen one.
Oh yeah, because
Hmm.
apparently they don't know
Yeah,
that
for
everyone on Earth exhales carbon dioxide.
which actually gets to like one of the more heartfelt parts of the story, but we'll talk about that more
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm getting
yeah.
ahead of myself here. I
Hmm.
apologize.
Yeah, and so at first, Candace thinks it's great. The ruler is like, oh, I also had some really pesky brothers too that I couldn't stand.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, at first things are going great. It's just don't get the aliens overhyped, or else they'll not only explode, but their explosions sound like Candace.
Candace.
Yeah, I just thought that was kind of random.
Yeah,
Um,
and at first I couldn't notice it, but it wasn't until later where they had it like going on so many times. I kept hearing, "Who keeps calling Candace?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's right.
mhm.
That's
They
the
say on this
sounding."
world, the alien explosions sound like Candace, Candace.
And
Yeah,
so I think that's why the ruler decides to start call her what is like candy corn, candy cane,
something
stuff
like
like that.
Candy, something
I think
or other.
she like flips between them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
but then we get to probably and then when Phineas, Ferb, and friends arrive, we do get the adulting song. When they actually get to this headquarters, I actually like the scene where at first Candace it says no, I'm not going back, and I thought the dialogue and scene
oh,
really like hit the nail on the head as far. And something I like about this special is it dives deeper into why does Candace want to bust her brothers. Like it's like it isn't just because oh she's being bossy and enforcing the rules and that kind of stuff. And at first when the brothers come back, he's like nah, like no, I'm not gonna come back. If anything, I feel like well like. I'm trying my best to explain it. Like basically, her problem was she felt like it's not that they weren't giving. It's not that Phineas and Ferb weren't giving Candace like the attention, but she kind of feels
but
sort of
it was more like they were in the spotlight. Like she
yeah.
kind of felt kind of picked out. She's like, I feel like I'm having a better time here without you guys, or
Mm-hmm.
something along
Yeah.
those lines. And I mean the that I kind of felt bad because that's kind of like probably one of the most sour parts, one of the most sour moments I've seen as far as like the show.
Yeah.
Uh, so I was just kind of like, ouch.
Yeah, but like
Uh,
in a way, but it's done in a way where like for me I could feel like, Candace's like pain. It's like done in a
yeah,
way where it's
it's
like
not out of
yeah,
character
like it's
or
not that,
called
she's like being
for.
like overly bossy or anything like that. It's like no, you get where you can get it
Yeah,
comes from a
yeah.
very identifiable place. So,
Yeah,
mhm.
just I feel like in part it kind of looks into maybe like sibling rivalry in the sense that she feels like she's like kind of like overshadowed by them,
Yeah.
and all that, which I mean is pretty apparent, but like they never really, as far as the show goes, to like dive into it. So it was really cool for them to see them do that here.
Yeah.
And from there we go to the point where Candace is like, I don't even want to see you guys, like, and the ruler goes like, you want me to handle them? And she's like, would you? You're
Mhm.
the greatest. And it's like, oh, what
Yeah,
did either
basically
of them
sends
mean
the
by handle? Or was it handle or take care? I feel like it was take care, but still, the point
but the
is
point
like,
is basically she tries to get Phineas and Ferb and their friends like sent to like prison basically.
right.
Yeah.
Although Candace is here thinking like, oh, she's probably just gonna leave him in another room or something, or
Yeah.
send him out or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah. And I also really like how that, comes back like toward the end and it kind of like, where Candace is like, "Wait, no, I wouldn't like throw my brothers in prison." And that sort of thing. Yeah.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, that's like around the climax. Oof, that part.
Yeah.
We gotta get there.
And of course, like when Phineas and Ferb, when they get into this, I guess you could say this prison car, and Perry is there to like help free them. Again, can't be seen
Oh
by
right, right,
anybody.
right. So
Yeah.
they have no idea who that Barry had anything to do with it. I
And
think
they're
the only thing they know is that the car stopped and the back door open, though we see that Perry's here like kicking butt while he's hearing a message from his superiors
yeah, and he's like
about,
constantly like covering his watch, so because like his superior is like you must not be he's seen da 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 da, and Perry is just like going around.
no, but not
Um,
only that, but how he's supposed to be like is like what was amiable towards anyone from the planet, like
mhm.
no fighting, no destroying property, no hurting others, and he's just like
Yeah, basically breaking all the rules. Yes.
I'm here like, wow,
Hey, Agent P, can't blame him.
Agent
Or
P.
in the special, shh, it's like Agent P. Yeah, yeah, I like that. So yeah, they're basically so when
Oh.
they get freed, they also there happens to be other characters on board who are basically people who are able to break free from the leader, but these people are kind of like more, I guess you could say like cowardly. Like it's like
Well, I
they
mean,
don't have
their place is called this. What is it? The city of Cowardalia.
I think so. But yeah, basically they don't have much motivation to fight this leader. If anything,
Yeah,
they
like their whole
explain.
identity is based around cowardice,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, and basically they explain. So basically, when this leader came in, she came in with this plant that shoots out these spores, and basically it's like I don't want to say they've been like bow down to her, but it's almost like they sort of go into that like robotic sort of like mindset.
Yeah,
Yeah, where
it's
it's
like
like
almost if they went catatonic, but if you tell them to do something, they'll do it.
yeah, it's like even if it's shooting a crappy like TV show, they'll do it. So.
Oh my gosh, that
hmm
scene.
So yeah, and of course it was particularly Phineas who was like up there trying to like motivate them and rise up against this leader, right?
Oh yeah, there's like a line that goes, there's like, but if you want, you can make the word coward mean hero.
Like basically like it was the message of just because you're known as cowards, it doesn't mean
Then you can't do
you're
anything,
doomed
which
to
I thought that was
be like that
pretty.
for
That
yeah,
was
that was
pretty
pretty
cool.
nice. Yeah. Also, as I mentioned Phineas's name, I kind of noticed, and this isn't like an issue I had, this is just like something to have note. Like I noticed that Verb gets a few more lines than usual in this movie. Not that he talks all the time, but I just found it kind of interesting because, like, in the show, he only gets like one or two lines an episode.
Well, yeah, I remember like early on in the show, the whole point with Ferb was that he was a quiet one.
Yeah.
And little by little, as we get to know him, you notice that his lines start to grow a little more, start to
Oh,
hear a little bit
okay.
about him.
hmm
So I was just like, okay, we're here. I mean, I vaguely remember there being like this big deal the first time that we actually get to hear Ferb's voice.
Yeah.
Because it was almost like for a while we didn't even know what his voice sounded like.
hmm
But yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, even then, they kind of were a little more, generous with his lines, which I think it works, you
yeah, it
know.
works.
So I was actually quite glad to see him play in as much as he did. Although I have to admit, seeing him just kind of be the silent, active type who just kind of sort of knows what to do and then just manages to make it work has always been probably one of my favorite aspects of Ferb. So
Yeah. So it's kind of like, would you say it works in a way where it's like, well, Phineas is the idea guy, Ferb is the one who goes out and is the guy who builds.
yeah,
Yeah, I think you brought
yeah.
that up to me like when we were watching the film.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's almost kind of like they're on the same page regardless.
Yeah.
It's not like one just blindly follows the other or one just leaves the other to figure it all out. They're just kind of like two parts of the same mind.
Yeah, yeah, that's the kind of thing. It's not like a
Hmm.
insert like a lot of shows where the two characters often have like contrasting personalities or opposites attract. Like no, I think that was a very nice way to put it where it's like
Oh
two
yeah.
pieces of one whole basically. Which,
Yeah.
that's good, sibling relationship, I would
And
say.
and that's partially I feel like why you kind of find it believable that they get themselves in all the kinds of shenanigans that they
Well, of
do.
course, yeah. Flying car of the
Oh,
future today.
oh god.
Yeah, I mentioned that specifically for my favorite episode of Phineas and Ferb.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so we're there
Yeah,
where
so
they
basically we're getting to
basically pull together this whole group of people.
hmm yeah.
Um,
And Candace starts to figure out what the leader is really up to. The carbon dioxide
yes,
thing, which
the
I
carbon
really like
dioxide.
how, yeah, I really like how it turns out this leader is like, oh, we're looking for this thing, which you humans call carbon dioxide. And when
Yeah,
Candace
because
reveals everybody exhales carbon dioxide, and she's thinking that, oh, this whole time that she's special, but when, they realize that, oh, it's a thing humans do, she's like, oh, so this position is, you know, it kind of makes her like think, oh, so
yeah, nope, it's just another big old poop on her deal from the universe.
Yeah, so I thought it was like an interesting way for, everything to come crashing down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I remember I think it worked out mainly because up to that point, we'd just been hearing about this thing called what was it? Remarkamonium?
Yeah, or
Some
basically, yeah, something that we think that oh,
yeah.
it's this like
Oh, it's like,
special thing.
oh, it's
Hmm.
like rare,
Yeah.
and once you find out, oh, it's carbon dioxide.
Hmm.
Oh, great! Everyone on the whole planet does
Yeah,
this.
which obviously that leads into the next sort of big conflict of the movie, where basically now the leader wants to go and invade
Yeah, it's
Earth
like,
and
oh, hey,
make
there's
everybody
going to
follow
be
her
like
command.
non-stop nutrients for my plant mama,
Yeah,
which is named
Mama.
after my mama. That was her
Hmm.
actual name, Mama.
Yeah, and Candace gets cuffed to this like treadmill,
Yes,
to
this is
try
like a
to like
treadmill.
fuel
Yeah.
this plant. Yeah. And so then we get to Phineas, Ferb, and friends. So they manage to get the all the people together and form this like sort of like army to try to go after the leader. The leader goes off on her ship up to Earth. And
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think I,
we're getting to probably my favorite joke of
yes,
my favorite
yes.
fourth wall joke. Oh my god, oh
No,
it's so
for me,
great.
I'm here like thinking about just the fact they took advantage.
Hmm.
Like they kind of did a double take almost of like, oh, we're singing this song about what we're gonna do, word for word, and the leader's just like, ha, fools, why are you giving us your entire plan? Now we're going to go do what you're going to like prepare for whatever it is you're saying in your song. And so they move
Hmm.
over to the area where they singing that they were going to be there, and it's like, okay, any minute now, and just kept going on the same way.
Yeah, basically yes.
Oh, that was priceless.
So they basically they hop back, minus Doofenshmirtz, who finds Vanessa flying. What's the name of the? It looks like a pterodactyl, didn't it?
It kept saying a name. Vlorkel, was it?
Or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
basically, and then there's this whole thing of how do we get back to Earth, and Doofenshmirtz has this device of
The reverse chickeninator.
yeah, where it's
Yeah, was
basically
it?
we trade places with the nearest chicken. Unfortunately, wait, there was like one chicken walking around this
Yes, he
planet,
had
right?
used the reverse chickeninator once, and I think he was trying to. Yes, on another one of those dragon creatures.
Yeah, that gets sent to Earth and to that what was it, dragon like theme
It was
park?
like a dinosaur themed, almost like mini golf place,
Yeah.
or like a just like a park. And it's funny because they're all like, oh well, how are we going to make this work if we don't got nothing that looks like a dinosaur?
Hmm.
And just like
And then yeah,
weird,
here comes this creature from the planet, and it's like
like,
problem
oh,
solved. I hope it
probably.
doesn't go around eating people like it's Jurassic Park.
Yeah, but because of that little shtick right there, they can't use a reverse chickeninator to get back on Earth because the nearest chicken is now
On the
on the
planet. Yeah.
planet.
Which yeah, we'll get back to how they figured this out. So basically, yeah, so Phineas, Ferb, and friends they go on the leadership back to Earth, and what was it that caused them to go into like storyboard form? Or was it like because they were going into like hyperspeed?
Yes, like if you
Mm,
go beyond the speed of light,
yeah.
your reality as it is your reality begins to strip to its very essence.
Yeah, and it literally cuts to
And
like,
yeah, and it starts
early
going
like
into
animation.
storyboard, and
Yeah.
from there to like animatics.
Hmm.
No, wait, from animatics to storyboard, and then from there, you see a camera, like an actual camera shot with like the storyboard up on the wall, and
Hmm.
Doofenshmirtz, voice
Yeah,
actor, along with who
the two
was.
creator Dan Povenmire, I think that's how you pronounce his last name,
Yes.
and Jeff Swampy Marsh. Yes, you actually
Right,
hit
yeah,
the
they're right
cameo.
there on the
Yes,
camera, and
I
they're
thought
like,
that was
"Ah."
brilliant.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, that was
Loved it when
beautiful.
Chowder did it, and I love it when Phineas and Ferb did it.
Hmm. Yeah, I thought that was really terrific. So yeah, so
Chef's
make a
kiss, but
cameo. Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So they're going back to Earth, and I'm not sure if I'm like getting ahead of myself, but I'm already thinking of when they get to this like sports game. the leader arrives and she's going around with her plant.
Oh, wait, what happened? The plant.
Like when they get to Earth.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they like before they're going down there. Okay, so the kids get down there, and then the big ship's going down, and it smashes this newly made, this newly made statue out of this extremely fragile, uh, it was almost like glass.
Yeah,
But
like
it's like
very
very
fragile.
fragile material,
Hmm.
and they're all like, "Oh, that's a close one," because it just barely misses, and then it just goes.
Yeah, just completely shattered. I forgot to mention there's also this recurring gag with Buford's canoe, and we're left thinking,
Oh, we
what role is
completely
that
left
canoe?
out the
Yeah.
canoe.
Hmm.
Yes, back at the beginning when they were, getting into Doofenshmirtz, space travelinator, they're all like, "Oh, we don't know what we're going to need out in space," so people start bringing their own stuff, and Buford comes in with this giant red canoe, and this red canoe is following along the entire film.
Hmm. We're just left basically thinking, what role is this
Well,
going to
yeah,
play?
we're just
Like we're
worried
just
that,
waiting and
we just
waiting.
gotta
Yeah.
wait. We
Hmm.
gotta wait to see what this moment comes. And when the moment comes, uh, the group of friends is falling down into Earth's atmosphere and ultimately to the ground,
Yeah.
along with all the stuff that they were thrown out with, including the canoe. So Ferb and Phineas start making a plan to put it all together into something based off of Space Adventure after Baljeet just got completely disillusioned with
Hmm.
Space Adventure as a form of reference.
Yeah.
Uh, so they end up using that. They make this basically like flying canoe. So they build wings for it,
Hmm.
and they just start flying over and into was it a baseball field?
I think it looked like a baseball field.
Yeah, it looked like a baseball field. And did I say baseball?
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, you get the point.
Yeah.
Baseball field, they go down, and then the mothership comes in after them.
Yeah.
And the plant is released.
Hmm. Hmm.
And right on that moment, that plant just thrives and grows like, I don't know how big. It was huge.
Hmm.
And yep, lo and behold, it's taking charge of all the humans there.
Yeah, and the principal characters. They have to start wearing like these kind of masks.
Yeah, yeah, like filtering masks. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was like gas mask.
Hmm.
Whoa, oh, and Candace's friends also managed to have them inside of the ice cream. Was it an ice cream truck that
It was some sort of food truck that.
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't remember their names. I do apologize. It's, like it had been a
Jeremy
good
and
while. Jeremy, yes,
and
I know the guy's
what's
name
her
is
face?
Jeremy.
The friend.
Yeah.
Name
Gosh,
slips my
why?
mind.
Yes, but they've been here on Earth this whole time. They're doing their own thing, and she finds out that Jeremy may or may not be a LARPer, and just so happens to have gas masks just like the main characters as well.
Hmm.
I don't know what the heck this guy's up to, but there you go.
Yeah, they basically we're just going along with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, they just all just team up and just start kicking butt.
Yeah.
And Candace gets saved by Phineas and Ferb, who then finally manage to get her to open the present after she has a
Hmm.
breakdown, saying, "Why the heck do you even like me anymore? Like you shouldn't. Like you guys are better off
And
without me."
yeah,
And they're
she
like,
is like just starts like basically like beating herself up, saying, "I'm not even a
"Yeah,
good sister."
yeah." And so they're just like, "Please open the gift."
Hmm.
And it's this adorable coffee mug that says "World's Best Sister." Was it something like that?
Something like that. Yeah.
And a little kind of like projection ball pops up from the bottom of the cup.
Hmm.
and opens up to project all of the awesome kick-ass moments that she's had throughout the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
Which I just, oh, my heart
Me
was just,
too. Like,
oh,
yeah,
oh.
that was wonderful. Yeah. Did you tear up? I saw
A little
it
bit.
looked
I
like you.
teared up a
No,
little bit.
like
I was
like
crying.
no.
I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh.
Yeah, I thought that was, and
But it's
was it?
one of those kind of like good cries, or just like
Yeah.
it's a happy cry. It's
Yeah,
yes.
happy cry, just like what happened with Luce and understanding Willow.
Oh
Remember that scene when she
yes.
sees the younger Willow and present Willow and she just starts tearing up?
Yeah, that was
Mm.
me. That was pretty much me.
Yeah, and was it Ferb that said something like, "I wish we could see you could see like us the way we see EU,"
I wish you could see yourself the way we see you. Like
like
it was something like, oh, the line was
yeah,
so perfect. I
that
said
just
that
hit the
because I
nail on
remember
the
it,
head.
but it's
That scene was just
I'm
fantastic.
gonna
Yeah.
watch. I'm gonna come back. It's going to come back to me at some random moment, and if it's not going to be in this video, I may or may not put it in the freaking comments, but we'll
Mhm.
see. Also, hi to anybody who's been seeing me on the comments. Yes, that is me.
Yeah.
um, and what else? What else happens? Then
So,
she gets a T-shirt gun.
mhm. Actually, yeah, come to think of it, I actually think that's a really creative way that she defeated the aliens, is getting a
She's like,
t-shirt.
okay, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Oh, right, they explode when they're excited,
Yeah.
and they get
Candace.
excited for free stuff.
Yeah.
So she started to like free shirt, free shirt, free shirt, free
Mhm.
shirt. And that was the moment when I finally got to hear what it sounded like. I kept hearing somebody calling out to Candace. I'm like, who's calling out to Candace? And lo and behold, it's all of the aliens blowing up
Yeah.
because they're so excited to be getting free shirts.
Mhm. Yeah, so yeah, it was a
Ah,
really exciting climax.
yeah.
Mhm.
It was all feel good like the whole time. Like I didn't have it's funny because you feel like you would want to have like that moment where you're just like, oh no, that's so sad. But I mean, despite that, it was also like pretty feel good, and I was like so happy watching this movie,
Yeah, definitely.
which was definitely a big change. So I'm like,
Mhm. Yeah, and also the ending song was really nice.
why is it escaping my memory right now?
The one where basically Candace takes the lead and they get the whole town in, basically even Doofenshmirtz and Vanessa chime in.
Right, but I can't think of the lyrics. I don't know why. It's just like, but I just enjoyed all the music in there. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
But I mean, it was, if I remember correctly, it was just kind of like you said, but I, I don't know. Was it kind of like like the first song they were singing, just kind of like give it a twist, or am I remembering it incorrectly?
Do you mean in terms of the tone?
No, because I like I know sometimes they take the first song of this movie and they do a twist on it at the end with everyone chiming in, almost like
No,
rainbow
I wouldn't
collection,
call it. It sounded like a
like a
different
different
song.
song.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Which is why I'm here like, why don't I remember the lyrics?
Yeah.
But anyway, it'll come to me. It's
Mhm.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, overall Phineas and Ferb the movie Candace Against the Universe, I would say was a pretty good movie. And yeah, it was nice to see um these two funny characters come back for this film, and yeah, I thought it was pretty decent. As far as like, I'm just doing this like as a guy who critiques movies and all that. Like, in terms of like any issues I might have, I do think that at times like the pacing was a little too slow, and there was a couple jokes I thought held on for a little too long. Like, I don't know if it's just me or I'm just so used to like the frantic nature of the show, but
I don't know, because I mean, I'm usually the one to pick up on the pacing,
yeah.
and oh no, I was having a blast. I guess I was too distracted to really notice the pace because I was like, heck.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was still enjoyable. It's just more so like things that, just like picking part if I had any issue with the movie, just, trying to stay objective and all. But I thought
Right,
overall it was, a
right.
pretty a decent movie. I imagine it's definitely going to be a movie for like Phineas and Ferb fans who have, especially since the show, it's come back now and then, but like since the show has, it's not pumping out episodes regularly anymore. It's
Right.
definitely a really nice comeback for them.
I thought so too. I was kind of surprised to hear that they were making a movie. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's
You
it's the
know?
kind of thing where I often talk about how a lot of people complain that like Disney doesn't do much marketing when it comes to like their TV shows because everything is all about like Marvel, Star Wars, and Frozen. But Phineas and Ferb, it seems like when if it's like a mega popular franchise with like DuckTales or Phineas
Oh
and Ferb,
yeah.
it's like like even like Perry the Platypus. He's on. Have you seen the Tsum Tsum cartoons, Gabby?
Oh, the Tsum Tsum cartoons? I
Yeah,
haven't seen the cartoons, but
yeah,
I,
my
I
yeah, Penny loves those
they,
cartoons.
they
We
do sound
watched a lot of them.
adorable. I think
Yeah,
I've seen maybe one or two of them.
and usually like in the Tsum Tsum, it's usually like the movie characters or the more famous
Right.
ones. Mickey, Donald. They even throw Baymax in there and Stitch and Dumbo. And Perry's like the only one that comes from a TV show. Like they don't make ones for or like the other
Right. And
characters.
and
Yeah,
Perry just had this kind of like effect on the audience that just like it. I think it would Perry somehow managed to stand out a lot amongst most of the general audience.
yeah.
I mean, I think that's the first thing that comes to mind to a lot of people when the show is mentioned.
hmm
Which can, case in point, the fact that I was talking about the main thing I remember from high school was the fact that one of the kids would try to make the sound he
Yeah.
made in the middle of class. I mean,
hmm
better than the other stuff that kids were spouting out while the teacher was gone.
Well, yeah, yeah, I could understand that. So yeah, but it's just Phineas and Ferb just has that kind of impact, and I think
Yeah.
especially when I look at like when I subscribed to Disney Plus, it was mostly for okay, I'm doing it more so for the movies, and if there's new releases like Onward, I'll watch them. So it wasn't more so from the originals because. Not that they're bad, but they just didn't interest me. Although I did watch like half of the Lady and the Tramp remake, and I was just like,
I got to watch about half of it as well, and I was just like, you know what? This makes me just want to watch the original.
yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe the second half is better. Maybe one of these days I'll review it. But basically, the originals is just like, it's not my cup of tea. I know there's Mandalorian, but I've only seen the Star Wars sequel movies.
Meanwhile, I have a whole bed set behind me with
Baby
a
Yoda.
the child plush. And what did I get for Valentine's Day but a giant poster of Baby Yoda?
I see.
So yeah,
Yeah. So it's like
this is the
Phineas.
way.
Yeah, so Phineas and Ferb, Candace Against the Universe was one of the originals that I was more so looking forward to.
Oh yeah, I think it's a great use of the shows that are like the material that they have on their hands. Just the fact that they can kind of bring stuff like that back, which I also see happening more or less with HBO Max and Cartoon Network, which makes me so excited. Like the newest seasons of stuff like Summer Camp Island was on there.
hmm
I think that was actually an original for that too. The Adventure Time Distant Land spinoff with
Yeah, I know a lot of
Nemo.
people were talking about that. Yes.
I absolutely loved it. I was
hmm
like, hey. I'm super excited for the Marceline one. That's probably going to just take the cake right there already. I'm expecting great things. I'm like, I love Marceline. She's probably my favorite character, period,
I see.
in Adventure Time. So,
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
but yeah, just seeing stuff like that, I think that I'm really liking their take on making original material
Yeah.
because it's like, okay, it might not be a completely new original concept, but they are working off of stuff that has already proven to be successful and make more material for it, which I think is a great use.
Yeah.
Um, even book three of Infinity Train wasn't that for HBO Max
Yeah, they
particularly?
basically turned it into an HBO Max exclusive.
Right, yeah, which I think it's a really good use of it,
hmm
especially for those who can't. managed to have a cable subscription at this point.
Yeah,
Uh,
unfortunately, I grew up in a house where my parents didn't want cable, and they were just like, "Oh, you want to watch Nickelodeon? We'll buy you Avatar DVDs." So,
which I think is even cooler because I'm here like I have to scrimmage around the TV sometimes or like find my own kind of like sources for like where to go when new stuff comes out. And it's like, oh hey, we'll get to the DVD. Don't worry. I'm like, that would have been amazing.
yeah.
But yeah, no, it still makes it difficult, particularly as far as like looking at stuff like following the Owl House.
Mm-hmm. Which, yes, you saw the season finale ahead of me.
Yeah, I there was a miscommunication on us trying
Yeah,
to
it's
plan this
okay.
whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which,
I'm here like it was just last night. I got back because I'd spent the whole day helping out at my parents' pizza shop.
mm-hmm.
So I come home, I'm finally, just like winding down. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a new episode of The Owl House. And
Mm-hmm.
I just sat down. I was like, what did I just watch?
Oh,
I'm
shit.
not. That's all. That's all I'm going to say. But
Yeah, I know. I actually,
no
one of my
spoilers.
followers already sent me even more questions or in theories, which I didn't, like, sorry to the person out there, but I can't look at them right now because I haven't. And
Soon enough,
yeah, I'm gonna watch, I'm gonna watch it tonight.
guys. There's a reason we're doing this right now. There will be more to come.
Yeah.
Tonight is our night, Mister Yagake.
Yeah, okay. I'll just keep listening. Like I've said, I think I've said in videos before, like the way I've been, like just so I don't come out of streams feeling like help. I've just been
Yeah.
like listening
So
to like
yeah,
Jurassic Park
that's
themes,
exactly what we're
Star
going to
Misfits, that
handle right
crazy.
now. If it was not clear what I was implying, yes. After this whole thing, we are going to let our good friend Bobby here just take a moment to nourish himself
Yeah.
and calm down before I sit him down
Mm,
for this roller coaster ride.
yeah. It's weird because like I remember when I saw Agony of a Witch, and like it was like the first time like I watched an episode, and I've explained before basically what happened was, so after finishing Star and getting through the first 5 episodes of Infinity Train Book 3, I was like, this is not like a healthy way for me to react. Like, even if I enjoy it, it's like it's almost like I mentioned before, it's like the stick shift analogy I bring up. Like, you don't need to be in like seventh gear. Get yourself back into second and or third, So, and the other analogy I brought, so many analogies. The Home Alone example, because I really feel that sort of way. Because like I don't remember reacting like this, like as a kid.
Right,
Like,
yeah. And at least with Home Alone, it's kind of like you worrying more so of how the kid is going to take it and less so, oh my gosh, I'm scarred.
yeah,
Uh, but I mean, when it's one of the things that happens when you get particularly invested in a show that the emotions going through you in that moment, interpreting
yeah.
the story that you're following becomes so real. And it gets easy to just kind of lose yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
the good part of that is that proves that the show
Yeah, it's
is
kind of like me
definitely doing its
realizing it's
job.
working. I'm invested. I like, I'm liking what I see. It's just that for me, I want to kind of get back to how I processed Avatar back when I was a kid because I was hyped for like the really intense episodes of Book 3. I remember seeing the trailer on the Nickelodeon website and thinking, I'm ready for this. I want to watch. Now it's like,
Right, yeah.
I
It's like, hold on, no,
like you.
not this part. Like, I think it particularly happens when you become fond of the character you're following.
Yeah,
It's like, I don't want anything to happen to them. No,
yeah.
please
Hmm.
protect them.
Yeah, so,
And it's like,
hmm. Well,
gosh, no.
yeah.
Now I have to be like, do I want to see a good story? Do I just want to be like, I just want to protect this tiny little being right here?
Yeah. So it's weird because like I thought growing up it'll be a thing. It's like, oh, as I get older, I'll be able to like separate and say, this is a TV show. You don't need to freak out like this. But it's like for the reasons I brought up earlier, like with Home Alone, it's like when we were younger, it's like OT, haha, and now it's like. Hey, if that happened in real life, I mean, people still laugh. Don't get me wrong, but it's like the kind of thing where it's like, Ooh, if that was
That
real
would be,
life, that
yeah.
would probably kill, well, Harry and
You
Marv.
know what that brings to mind?
What?
Like, did you watch Frozen 2?
I saw the beginning, but I didn't finish it
Ah,
yet.
no! Because it's like a perfect kind of like example of like what it looks like, particularly with Olaf. But I don't know if I should point it
Is
out.
it a
So yeah.
spoiler?
Not really. It's more of like an ongoing gag
You
where,
could say it.
okay, so there's this ongoing gag with Olaf in the second movie where he's basically experiencing some form of existential crisis.
Yeah.
And so he's all like, everything will make sense when I'm older. I'm not going to be scared when I grow older.
Oh
Ah.
boy.
I just like poor Olaf.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I could tell from personal, and it's honestly kind of relatable to me because that's what I thought. Oh, I'm gonna
Yeah,
be smarter.
exactly.
I'm
That's
gonna
what
know
it made me
everything.
think
I'm not gonna
of.
be scared.
It's just going to be awesome. I'm going to, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
But yeah, it's like, yeah, not quite.
No.
Yeah, no.
At some points it seems like no, not at all. Quite the opposite. Like no, but I mean that's adulting.
Yeah, that's adulting. You really should just start saying that whenever things get intense. It's like, watch me after I get done with the Owl House episode. I'm just gonna start singing the
Yeah.
adulting.
Oh, all
So
right.
yeah. So
Okay.
I lost my train of thought.
Well, I mean, we practically went through the whole show, through the
Yeah.
whole movie. Was there anything else you wanted to point out?
I don't know, not really, other than just I thought it was a decent movie. As far as other videos I'm working on, like we're gonna watch like the Owl House season finale. Oh boy, like, and this is the thing, because just in case for people who are wondering where have I been, because I haven't been posting too much on Twitter and Instagram, just been avoiding
Spoilers.
It's like, like basically from midnight from when the episode comes out, you're gonna have people posting in screenshots of the most like crazy scenes. Like I remember when Enchanting Gromfry came out. I mean, I still, one of my favorite episodes, yes, but people were posting the dance, and it's just like, let me watch the episode.
I think I came across it too. I was like hyped, but then you think about it after a moment, you're like, wait, what about the people who are avoiding spoilers?
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I guess it's kind of subjective because it's like, people are gonna be like, well, how long do you want us to wait? Or
well, usually there's like a rule of thumb about a week or so, right? That's what I've heard.
Must be. Is it like an unspoken rule?
Yeah, like an unspoken rule. It's like, okay, guys, or it's between like different fan groups or whatever. But generally, there's like this unspoken rule. It's like, okay, no spoilers for this amount of time, so that everyone can, get a hold of it.
There's one person that, and I give this person a lot of credit. There's somebody like I follow on Instagram who posts saying, oh, I really like this episode I just watched, but if you want spoilers, you're gonna have to go to my Instagram story.
Oh, okay, that's
Like,
smart.
I think that's
That's
really
smart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you kind of have to make more of an effort to go onto someone's story, so that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think maybe one of the reasons why I used to tweet mini reviews, but I think one of the reasons why I subconsciously don't do that anymore, I'm sure my journalism and public relations professors aren't going to like that I don't because of things like engagement and such. But one of the reasons I think I don't is because, I don't want to, spoil or something. Like, I know the feeling.
Right, yeah. It's like, where is the line? It takes it takes a good amount of effort to be like, okay, going over it. And even though it's a small blurb, be like, with a small blurb, one detail can go out and just kind of like give away this whole aspect of a show or episode or a movie. It becomes hard. You know.
I mean, that was why, I just think back to the Star vs. the Force of Evil days where I was especially, trying my best to hide spoilers, and I got spoiled in Season 2 when I found out that Marco and Jackie kissed.
That was probably not the best spoiler to receive either.
Yeah, because,
Yeah. I remember that around the same time, probably like that same summer, I was finally getting to Gravity Falls, even though I'd known about Gravity Falls since high school.
Yeah.
Um, that was the summer that I decided to go eat the whole thing up. And lo and behold, I'm doing research because I want to get completely immersed in the show I'm watching, and bam! I hadn't gone to the reveal of the twin brother, and
Mm-hmm.
there it goes. It's one of the first points of a review, and I just looked at the review, and I'm like, I hate you.
Yeah. Yeah. It must be really tough. Like, I wonder what it's like for like people who. Not that, it's not a problem if they watch later. Of course it's good when, more people are introduced to these shows. It's just that, when it's been out for a while, it's much harder to avoid
Right,
spoilers.
yeah, and that's the thing, like, it's hard to know how to go about it because it's like, you don't know when you're going to be getting into something. It's like, do you get mad at the people who had already taken the time to like look at all this information? Do you get mad at the people who decided to wait to get onto this information? Like,
Yeah.
it's so messy. You're just like, you know what? Let's just try to pull through with this.
Yeah. I
It's
think,
just kind of like a part of following.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, the two
yeah.
times I could think where I got spoiled and I didn't get like really mad was Avatar, because here's the thing, before Sozin's Comet, the final 4 episodes came out, they came out with this book that had like certain changes from the episode itself. So but
Okay.
the basic story was like the same in terms of like how Aang defeats Ozai and him and Katara getting to, for whatever reason, I guess because I was like so invested in Avatar back then that I didn't mind getting like finding out what happened.
Yeah, I found myself the same way. Like I was watching Gravity Falls and I got so mad when I got that spoiler. But then ask me how many times I've been spoiled watching Steven Universe and looking stuff up on the internet about it.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of times. But at the same time I was just eating it all up like, yes, give me all this validation and information.
Yeah, yeah, I could relate. And
You
the other
know,
time, go ahead.
no, 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 go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, and I was about to say the other time, and this is a more recent example, was regular show, because spoilers for people who haven't seen the regular show finale. Pop sacrifices himself to save the universe. Which, yeah, I remember. I actually kind of teared up when when Pops was like, "Take care of each other, Mordecai and Rigby." He says that speech as he's about to sacrifice
I'm
himself.
just picturing him saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I haven't gone to see the finale
Mm-hmm.
myself, but
I
at this
watched
point
it
I'm like,
I watched it the night before Close Enough came out, like just to see what people had
yeah,
to
I feel
say.
like I need to do that.
Yeah,
I have to add
it's
that to
a
like
really
my
creative finale. It gets a
to-do
little
list.
complicated at times, but it's still like one epic finale, like for
Oh
regular show.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, and of all characters, Pops, it's like,
yeah. I
oh.
think at that point it was because like I wasn't like caught up with the final season when I found out the spoilers. So when I got spoiled, I was just like, well, okay, there you go. I mean, I was like
Yeah.
sad because it's like a major character gets axed off, and it's kind of funny how like we kind of make this joke about how it starts off all funny and then somebody
And then
dies,
somebody
and it's
ends
like,
up dead.
no, in this this finale somebody actually does. This isn't
Yeah,
like,
like no, like straight up.
yeah, this isn't like Star with Storm the Castle where
Also,
Marco
also
almost
the
gets
fact that
crushed.
it's not Disney
Yeah,
opens up a lot more, kind of stuff. Because I mean, Cartoon Network kind of manages to get away with stuff a bit better than Disney. I mean, Disney doesn't really like. I mean, it seems like Disney is very particular about what risks they take and what risks they decide not to take.
yeah,
While you don't know what Cartoon Network's going to come up with,
yeah.
it's just like, is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Is it going to be happy, sad, angry? Are you going to hate it? Are you going to love it? I don't know. Let's spin the wheel and find out.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Cartoon Network has a bit more liberty, particularly because I'm sure somebody could explain to me because I think regular show was meant more for like a sort of like teenage audience because it had the TV PG rating, and they also like in the early seasons they got away with saying words like crap and piss. Like
Yeah,
you can't say that on
yeah,
Disney
and as far as
Channel.
crap and piss go, those are like particular words that actually, I mean, even Disney has used it. If you've seen the Haunted Mansion movie, they take advantage of that too.
Yeah, I mean, I know they use it in their movies. I still remember in Holes when the warden refers to the characters as jackasses, which I'm just like,
Oh
that's
yeah,
as far as
even
they'll
even on the
go.
Pinocchio ride, on the Pinocchio
Yeah,
ride, there's the part where you go in, and my boyfriend loves this. You going through, like Dreamland or whatever it's called. I
yeah,
don't remember, like Funland. I don't know, but
yeah.
you go past the guy in charge. He's like, "Yeah, go ahead, make a jackass out of yourself."
Jeez. So, yeah,
but I mean, looking at JG Quintel, and if you've seen the pilot.
which I haven't, unfortunately.
Then it explains a good kind of
Like,
deal of
I
what kind
know
of mentality he was
like,
coming in with.
I've seen like bits and pieces, but I haven't gotten the chance to see
Yeah, I will
them.
have to show you
Yeah,
that. That will
yeah,
probably be what we see before we watch the season finale of Owl
yeah,
House.
the big
But
doom
yeah,
and gloom.
if
Yeah.
I'm able to talk about that a little here, looking at the fact that it was definitely taking a lot more kind of a like older audience oriented material, particularly drug use.
hmm Which,
I think you kind of know where J.G. Quintel's coming from in
yeah,
that
like
this
in
was originally supposed to be something a little more kind of like I don't know if edgy is really the right word, but just
risque,
kind of like I'm sorry,
risque.
risque. Yeah, pretty much. Just kind of like it's like that weird gray area between teenagers and adults.
Yeah, I mean,
Sort
they
of
do things in
vibe.
like regular show where it's just like you could tell if this was close enough that they would be
They
using
would
like
have
some
done
kind of
it, yeah.
yeah, like have you remember the episode where Mordecai, Rigby, and Benson drink this like really spicy drink and they get on this like kind of acid trip.
I I don't, but that makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's the Mississippi Queen. So yeah, it's just the kind of thing. It's like
Oh,
you could tell if this was close enough, they would be on
it would
something
be it would be yeah, or like
interesting.
Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, where the Knuckles stuck on drinking maple syrup.
hmm
But I think the spicy drink is a good analogy, just because I don't know, I've heard this kind of like thing about where you get spicy drunk. So I'm
Oh,
now
okay.
thinking about that. So I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It's like, okay, we can't get drunk on the show. So what
Yeah,
can we do? We'll get spicy
they
drunk.
can't even say, and you know what's so weird? And like, I think this was intentional. They can't even say the word wine. Like, there's a part they play Mississippi Queen the song, and they use the word like something like fine wine. When it gets to that word, they have like a car honk its horn. It's like they censor
Oh
the
my
word
god!
wine. Like, so you can say crap and piss, but don't mention alcohol.
Wow, that's very specific. I'm not surprised. I'm not, but
Yeah,
that's very specific.
yeah. So okay, so yeah.
Oh.
Right, so yeah,
All
so
right then.
all right, so yeah, we just basically went to the moon and back, and so yeah, when do you think we'll be able, if we can watch the Owl House finale? When do you think we'll be able to discuss it?
To discuss it.
Yeah,
Hmm. Maybe tomorrow or after tomorrow.
I guess we could talk more about it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's the
Yeah.
main thing that we're going to discuss, especially since we've come this far with Owl House, and now Lilith is like the most hated animation character next to Simon from Infinity Train and Pink
Oh
Diamond
my
from
gosh.
Steven Universe. It's,
You need to watch. You need to watch.
yeah, like oh boy, I have seen that trailer that. I don't mean this in a bad way, but like Disney Television Animation came out with this trailer where Luce is crying, and you hear all these characters where like I think Lilith says something like it's for her own good, and Emperor Belos is like the owl lady won't be needing her staff, and you hear Ida shout Luce's name, and it's just like I remember seeing everybody like, just answer this question for me, Gabby. Please answer this question for me. Do those three show up? Like, are they said in the episode? Okay. So, yeah. Like, okay, I'll watch. Like, yeah, I'll watch it. I promise. So it's weird because, like, I know I'm kind of like smiling and like joking right now, but it's just like
But yeah,
I'm
no, the
nervous.
tension is real. The
Yeah,
tension is absolutely real,
it's
guys.
just like I'm telling myself this
Ooh,
is
I'm
just like
breaking out. Oh man, I'm breaking out in this just
yeah. Oh,
from
oh
that.
no, no. Hey,
But you
calm
know,
down.
no, it's fine. I'm not like freaking out or anything. It's
Yeah.
just like I'm just really
Yeah,
excited.
yeah.
It's
It's
just
for
oh,
me. It's like getting ready to ride, like a roller coaster or that kind of thing.
are we gonna pump ourselves up? Pump ourselves up before watching the episode?
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what happens in this episode. I'm
I'm
also,
quite content.
yeah, I'm
I'm
looking
quite
forward.
content. I will
Yeah,
say that.
yeah, I'm looking forward to answering questions from the follower who's been sending to them. I appreciate them. We will get to them in the next stream. Uh, Actually, one last question, and I swear this is the last one
Okay.
I'll ask. Is it kind of like Storm the Castle?
As far as vibes go, yes. Yes, we definitely get that.
Uh-huh.
As far as yeah, like definitely with the tension, there's that whole thing. So like as far as that goes, expectations were met.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, that sounds good. So, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, hoping to check it out. And also, okay, I'll make this really quick. I'm also kind of hoping that, like, Phineas and Ferb, if it does well for Disney Plus, it does open the doorway for more Disney's
Oh
animated shows
yeah,
getting movies.
I hope so too. I just loved watching Phineas and Ferb. Oh,
Someday, please, Disney.
I feel like it's weird that they haven't done that already. I mean, DuckTales got thrown on there real quick.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised there's not more on there.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's a thing where they're waiting to see how Phineas and Ferb, like, Candace Against the Universe does before they said, okay, let's think about some more.
No, because I mean the show itself was actually on there. At least that's what I noticed.
What
But
show?
Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah.
But as far as like Star versus the Forces of Evil and shows like that,
Mm-hmm.
I think one of their biggest issues is of the kind of image they're trying to make with Disney Plus because they've gotten so much kind of dirt on censoring and changing stuff up on the show, including
Oh.
Gravity Falls.
Yeah, I was
So
thinking of talking
yeah,
about that. Yeah.
I feel like it might or may not have something to do with that. The fact
Mm-hmm.
that they haven't put shows like that on Disney Plus yet, which would also explain, like I just mentioned earlier, how stuff like DuckTales manages to be on there. Because, I mean, though DuckTales is an absolutely amazing show and I love it, we do not have the kind of subjects that are being talked about in these other shows.
Yeah.
So there's
So
that
yeah, that could
too.
be a possibility. And also because I know that the team behind like Star has kind of like they've gone their own ways. Creator Darren FC is working on Nickelodeon. Actually, one particular director. What you didn't know, Yemi?
I had no idea, but I'm glad to hear.
Yeah, like one of my somebody I was interviewing told me that, and I know, in fact, I know in particular one of the former like directors of Stars episodes has worked on the Owl House, so it's like I know
Oh, that's
everybody.
great.
Yeah, so
That's
I know
great.
everybody is like kind of going off and doing their own thing, and maybe that's part of it now. I just kind of feel like Stars kind of in that sort of phase between Avatar: The Last Airbender and Korra, where it's just like just kind of waiting, seeing what happens in the future.
Yeah, and I don't know. It feels like the way that Star versus the Forces of Evil took off was unprecedented.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't expecting it at all. I didn't even expect to be able to talk about it with anybody I knew, let alone see it grow into its own kind of fan base.
Yeah, fan base, and it goes from being, oh, a show where star Marco defeat monsters into this like really like crazy and big and intense and story.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, low key political commentary.
Hmm.
You know, sort of delving into the complexities of relationships,
Yeah,
the complexities of good and evil, just all kinds of stuff. And it's just.
yeah. So I don't know. Like I know, I at a place I used to work at, somebody that was like my colleague was saying, why don't they do something with Meteora and Mariposa like when they become teenagers? Which I know there's an Instagram artist who's like making like a pretty good fan comic based around those two characters, and like maybe that's like I think that could work as like either like maybe in the future a Disney Plus movie or maybe even a sequel series, but
Oh yeah,
it's definitely
and
up in the air right
and
now.
and that's the great part of fan made content,
Mm-hmm.
that there's always the opportunity for the original creators to look at stuff like that, come up with their own ideas, or even adopt those of the fans.
Yeah,
So yeah, the possibility is always out there.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, so hopefully basically is like maybe we'll see more of these projects on Disney Plus one of these days. Yeah.
Definitely a good move. I'd like to see more.
Yeah. So all right. So I know we've been spending a long time and talking, going with Phineas and Ferb and to the moon and back, and so we're gonna take a break for now before I start going down this like ride of doom, if you will, and seeing what I presume everybody is talking about with the Owl
I'm
House.
gonna sing the Doom song now.
Yeah. Honestly, I should just have my Amazon Echo Dot just playing Gur's Doom song on like until I watch this episode. So it's like,
Yeah.
because like I am not what I really don't want to do is do that thing. And I know I did this with the Star episodes where I waited a long time, mainly because I didn't really know how to. Like, one is that I did get busy with other videos since at the time I was doing a lot of news videos, and also just because I wasn't really sure how I could watch these episodes without, like, panic, panic, we're gonna die.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so but I am glad that you and Steven like, really like helped me with like getting through, especially I would say a seasons like I would say like I know seasons 2 and even 3 like I
Oh wow.
really like yeah, appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. And that's the best part of having, you know, friends who share the same kind of like interests as you, because you could always jump on together and be like, okay, I don't want to do this alone. It's like, fine, man, I'll do it with
Yeah.
you.
So yeah, it was just that I didn't know to take it as like, you being nervous, that's you being excited. It's not that you're legitimately like nervous like something's going to happen at your
Oh
job
yeah,
or
and
something.
and I mean the fight and flight response is just
Mhm. Which
it's
is
it's
especially
it's,
weird
it's
because
yeah.
at the time I was a social media editor at my newspaper, so like I would have thought that I would know the difference between what's something I should take really seriously and something that's meant to be more for like entertainment.
Yeah,
But
and again, it's the fact that when you get so invested in these stories, they become a little more than just that.
yeah, so yeah,
Hmm.
but I guess it is a good sign to take. So yeah, so okay, so we'll see you next time with the Owl House review. We both thought the Phineas and Ferb movie, Candace Against the Universe, was pretty good. I
Two
definitely
thumbs
recommend.
up.
Yeah. Yep. So, right. So until next time, this has been and Gabby and Bloodman Bobby, and we'll see you all later.
Bye.
Bye.